Women are illusions. Most men don't fall in love with women. They fall in love with ideas, with projections, with the illusion of something they believe will complete them, something soft enough to soothe their wounds and mysterious enough to spark desire. What they really fall for is a mirage. And maybe that's the darkest truth we never want to touch, that women, as they exist in the psyche of men, are not real. They are concepts dressed in skin, symbols of comfort and chaos, interwoven into mythology, fantasy, and trauma. Nietzsche once said, "All truths are simple. Are not all truths already recognized?" But simple truths don't mean easy acceptance, especially when that truth dismantles everything you've built your romantic ideals on. You don't love her. You love who you are around her. The illusion of being desired. The illusion of being needed. The illusion of being powerful. And eventually, the illusion of being destroyed. Women become the stage where a man performs all the unresolved parts of himself. She becomes the mirror in which he seeks validation. And when that mirror no longer flatters him, he breaks it, not because it lied, but because it told the truth. In Nietzsche's world, man must become what he is, but that path is paved with the wreckage of illusions. One of the strongest illusions is the woman. We're not talking about women as people, we're talking about woman as an idea, a projection, a cultural hallucination, a narrative force crafted in the minds of men through centuries of myth, repression, fantasy, and fear. To Nietzsche, the feminine isn't just a gender, it's a metaphor. It is chaos. It is mystery. It is the opposite of structure, order, and control. And it is dangerous precisely because it cannot be pinned down. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche hints at the dance between danger and seduction. Woman is not someone to be owned. She is the abyss that seduces man into testing the limits of his strength. She tempts him into shedding his cowardice or being consumed by it. But most men don't want that. They don't want danger. They want comfort in a dangerous shape. They want the illusion of depth, not the real thing. Because the real feminine, raw, indifferent, instinctual, isn't romantic. It doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't exist to validate your worth. It doesn't revolve around your need for meaning. Nietzsche understood that man invents stories to cope. Religion, morality, and woman. All three are illusions that promise salvation, but only if you surrender. He also warned of resentment, the hidden poison in the soul of the weak. The same resentment that fuels the man who idolizes women, places them on pedestals, and curses them when they fall from grace. But no one pushed them up there. He did. Not because she asked to be worshipped, but because he needed someone to carry the weight of his projected perfection. The illusion isn't in her actions, it's in your expectations. You see, desire isn't rational. It's a form of madness, a hallucination that hijacks logic and calls it love. And in that madness, the woman you fall for doesn't actually exist. Not the way you think she does. Not the way you need her to. Nietzsche would tell you that to transcend the illusion, you must first destroy it. Not hate it, not fear it, but see through it. To love a woman without illusion is to face her not as a symbol of your salvation, but as a sovereign chaos with her own will. But that kind of love is rare, because most men don't seek truth in women. They seek relief. And relief is easy to sell when it wears lipstick and says, "I need you." That's the trick. Need is a performance. So is seduction. So is every cute smile that hides contempt. So is every moment of emotional intimacy that's really just control in disguise. Nietzsche wasn't cynical, he was surgical. He saw the machinery behind the mask, and in doing so, he revealed that the strongest chains are the ones you enjoy wearing, the ones that come with affection, attention, and sex, because nothing enslaves a man faster than the illusion that he is finally free, and no illusion is more potent than the woman who makes you feel like the man you always wanted to be. But who are you without her gaze? That's the question most never want to ask. Because when the illusion fades, many realize they've spent their entire identity performing for someone who was never watching. Nietzsche urged man to face the abyss, to strip away lies and comforts, and confront the chaos within himself. That includes confronting the way he's been taught to view women, not as companions, but as saviors, as answers, as meaning that was never theirs to carry. When a man wakes up from the dream of woman, it doesn't make him hateful, it makes him honest. He sees that what he wanted wasn't love, it was relief from himself, and that's a burden no one can carry for long. So he must become the kind of man who no longer needs the illusion, who no longer seeks salvation in skin, who can stand in the storm of rejection, betrayal, silence, and not shatter. Because that's the only way to meet a woman without illusion. When you no longer need her to be anything other than what she is. And that's where the game ends. Not with hatred, not with control, but with clarity. The clarity that every illusion we fall for is a reflection of the lie we tell ourselves, that someone else can complete what we never dared to face alone. But clarity doesn't come without cost. It strips away the poetry you once called love. It makes the music stop, and you're left in silence, facing the fact that the drama you called a relationship was often just two people projecting unmet needs onto each other. What Nietzsche understood, what few dare to admit, is that most human connections are not about truth. They're about comfort, and comfort is almost always maintained through illusion. You lie to yourself to stay sane. You romanticize to stay hopeful. You turn chaos into beauty so it doesn't terrify you. But when that veil lifts, the woman you thought you loved begins to vanish. Because what you loved wasn't her. It was the idea that she would save you. The idea that she would finally see you, finally understand you, finally love you in a way that heals the wounds you've carried since childhood. Nietzsche didn't trust comfort. He saw it as a sedative for the weak. He believed that true strength comes from facing reality without illusion, without crutches, without needing someone else to validate your existence. And the illusion of woman, that comforting lie, is one of the last things most men are willing to surrender. Because without it, what's left? A man alone with his thoughts. No romantic dream to escape into. No muse to pour his identity into. Just the raw, unfinished self. That's terrifying, but it's also honest. And only through that honesty can you begin to build something real. Something not based on seduction, dependency, or control, but on mutual clarity. And even then, it's rare, because most people don't want truth. They want stories. And woman, as an illusion, has always been the most compelling story men tell themselves. She is the siren in the storm, the nurturer in the nightmare, the mother you lost, the lover you crave, the betrayer you resent. She is every archetype rolled into one. But no real woman can live up to that, because she was never meant to. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But what if your why was a lie? What if the feminine you've worshipped was just a placeholder for something deeper you've refused to face? Your own fear of meaninglessness, your own lack of purpose, your unwillingness to be whole without someone else completing you. That's the illusion. That love will save you, that she will save you, that being chosen by a woman means you are finally enough. But in truth, she can't give you what you're not willing to give yourself. She can't fix the father that wasn't there. She can't reverse the rejection that shaped you. She can't parent your inner child, no matter how much she tries to care. And when you demand that of her, when you unconsciously hand her your broken self, what choice does she have but to become the illusion you require? She will either perform it or reject it. But either way, it is not love. It is theater. Nietzsche believed that most relationships are built not on honesty, but on mutual blindness. Two people using each other to escape from themselves. But the moment one of them wakes up, the illusion shatters. The spell breaks, and reality begins. That's why breakups feel like death. Not because you lost someone real, but because the illusion died, and the part of you that needed that illusion died with it. So what's the path forward? Nietzsche would say, become who you are. Not who you think you need to be loved. Not who she wants you to be. Not who society says is acceptable, but who you truly are, without masks, without dependency, without illusion. That's hard. It's lonely. But it's also freedom. And in that freedom, if love finds you again, it will not be because you were lacking. It will be because two sovereign beings met without illusion and saw each other clearly. But until then, every woman you meet will be distorted by your projections. She will either be your savior, your mother, your muse, or your destroyer. And none of those are real. They are shadows of your own psyche, dancing in a shape you crave. To see a woman as she is, you must first see yourself without illusion. Only then will you stop mistaking validation for love, attention for meaning, chaos for mystery. Only then can you say, I see her. Not the story, not the mask, not the fantasy, her. And maybe that's the only kind of love that has any truth in it at all.